Hello everyone and welcome to another game of World of Warships. Today's replay is from Aetam77. He is in the Mahan, the tier 7 US destroyer. It's on the map New Dawn in a 3-point domination game mode. It's a tier 7 battle, so that's nice. There is one carrier, and in a destroyer that can be a problem if the enemy carrier chooses to use his planes to spot you. We shall see how it works out. There is already some communication going in the chat, and Dams is basically telling his team he is trying to take point alpha. The other destroyer is going for the center, so that's nice. Usually in a domination game mode you wanna get, well, if it's a 3-point mode you wanna get 2 points and then hold them, ideally. But it does look like there are quite a few friendly ships who go towards Point Charlie. Splitting up for 3 points isn't that ideal. Also, the enemy has one more destroyer. It's also not ideal in a domination game. But let's see how it turns out. Dams has arrived here at Point Alpha, and so far there is no sign of an enemy destroyer. The friendly carrier is providing some air cover here, which is very nice. So if the enemy carrier would decide to spot Dams, he have backup. Unfortunately, the friendly carrier is, well, can only be at one spot, and the enemy had some planes over the center, I'm afraid. The friendly carrier is moving off with his anti-air protection. Now it looks like there are quite a few enemies coming this way, but none are here yet. And it looks like the enemies are getting Point Charlie. So really the friendly ships down in the south might be better suited going towards the center. But we shall see. But Dams is opening up here, he can lob some shells at this York. Oh, he is detected and there is some incoming fire. But he has no trouble capturing this point regardless. Now let's see if he can get this York. I mean, there's a chance that he's just sailing in a straight line there. Now, while Point Alpha is captured, we look at the minimap, it's probably hard to hold this point. There are way too many enemies there. Unfortunately, the center is there's only one friendly destroyer, and a majority of the friendly forces are still down in the south, but they don't really have anyone to fight yet. Dams is launching some more torpedoes. I'm generally not the biggest fan of a widespread because it's easier to dodge through the torpedo gaps, but it allows him to cover a larger area, I guess. And he is quite successful in this battle with larger torpedo spreads. Now he's using his smoke here because he was spotted and there are still quite a few enemies around. The enemies are finally pushing inside this capture point with force. And, well, there are basically 2 friendly ships here holding this position. Dams and a friendly cruiser. Now there are some ships here in the center that may be in range, but I don't think they will come up here anytime soon. In the south, despite the massive friendly forces there, still nobody has sailed into the capture circle, and since there is nobody spotted down there, those ships aren't really engaging anything currently. And Dams here, he keeps his guns firing, but he probably already thinking about leaving. There is no way he can fight off major enemy forces here. And let's hope that he can score some torpedo hits. And nope. Unfortunately not yet. Oh, he gets some decent hits here, but the cruiser is still fairly healthy. Oh, he has one torpedo launcher left. And it looks like the enemy is now hiding inside the smoke. So he expects the enemy cruiser to sail through it and launches some torpedoes there. Might get lucky. But it's only him and and yes, indeed. Nicely done. So that's one problem dealt with, but there are still at least 5 enemy ships here up in the north and 2 friendly ships. Now in the center there is a lone friendly battleship that's desperately trying to meet up with friendly forces in the south. And at least the friendly team has finally taken control of Point Charlie. Although they still don't look like they're in a position to aggressively move towards the center. Currently the enemy team is in the lead. It looks like the enemy destroyer here is slowing down. He's probably trying to hide in smoke. So let's see if he's also intending to sit still in smoke. It looks like the friendly Fiji is trying a more aggressive move here. I presume he is using Hydro and he wants to flush out the enemy. Oh, wait. Enemy destroyer is down. He got hit by a torpedo from the Fiji, I think. So nicely done. Unfortunately, that Fiji is charging superior numbers and yeah. Now, when we look at here at the minimap, at the last spotted positions, there are quite a few enemy ships still around. Even though I think some of those ships are moving more towards the center, there isn't really much Dams can do here to hold this point. So he will use his engine boost and try to reunite with his team in the south. Now we speed it up a little bit because he is mostly repositioning here. Now, there are still quite a few ships in the south, friendly ships, and hey, he's got a torpedo hit, but it's not looking that great overall. The enemies have a points lead, they have a ship lead, and it looks like an enemy destroyer is on the way to hunt down the friendly carrier. The friendly carrier is in, well, he has retreated corner, but as you can see at the bottom, there is a destroyer on the way. There is also one friendly cruiser who is, I think, trying to help intercept that destroyer. The carrier has seen him, but the carrier isn't keeping any planes around to keep him spotted, unfortunately. And there is the kamikaze, conveniently spotted by planes. Now the carrier really should keep a plane around to keep the destroyer spotted. It's his best defense. Enemy destroyer is hiding in smoke, and Dams is using his own smoke here because he is detected by the ships behind him. And he wants a smoke barrier against them. He has no intention of sitting around here. He really wants to intercept the enemy destroyer going for the carrier. But just doesn't want to get hits from the ships behind him. And yes, the carrier really should devote some planes to guard that smoke. I mean, the destroyer could just sail right out of the smoke and go for the carrier again. It's like spotting a destroyer. I mean, a kamikaze isn't that easy. The kamikaze has the best concealment around here. And, well, I mean, I'm just managing it now yet, but if the carrier would keep him spotted, the friendly team could help take him out a lot more easy. But anyway, the destroyer is dealt with. And, well, the carrier has... well, he isn't exactly safe, right? There are still 2 ships coming. Also, more problematic, the enemy is just getting more and more points and the friendly team doesn't have a lot of ships left. Looks like there is a cruiser coming for the final point the friendly team holds, and somebody has to defend Charlie. Somebody has to defend the carrier. Also, I don't think the carrier can manage against the Fiji and the Scharnhorst. So friendly cruiser here is breaking off and is returning the capture point and will hopefully manage to hold Point Charlie. And well, maybe Dams can intercept the Scharnhorst and the Fiji. What he needs is a good torpedo salvo on the Scharnhorst. I mean, the Fiji is already pretty low health, and with that torpedo hit, the Fiji will hopefully go down. There are some shells incoming, and yes, the Budyonny finished him off. So one less problem The Scharnhorst is still coming for the carrier. The enemy carrier is around here as well. And I mean, a Scharnhorst is pretty efficient in dealing with destroyers. The Scharnhorst has good secondaries. He has, well, low caliber for a battleship. As his guns are concerned, and I mean, the guns fire pretty fast, so. Scharnhorst is one of the best battleships to deal with destroyers. Which makes this awkward because the Scharnhorst also has a lot of hit points left. And well, here comes some torpedoes. So let's see. It looks like the Scharnhorst is focusing the carrier right now. I mean, the Scharnhorst really has to focus the destroyer in a situation like this if he can. And right now there's nothing stopping the Scharnhorst from shooting Dams here. Dams is probably pretty soon in a secondary gun range. That's also kind of a difficult choice to make. In order to deal with this Scharnhorst fast, Dams needs to hit some torpedoes. Well, he needs torpedo hits. And he will get torpedo hits only if he gets close enough or if the Scharnhorst pays absolutely no attention. But if he gets close enough, he's much more vulnerable. Thankfully, that Scharnhorst is completely ignoring him. And I have no idea why. I mean, a Scharnhorst at 5 kilometers hitting Mahan, that's not too difficult. He isn't even trying. And sinking a carrier fast does absolutely nothing. I mean, carrier needs a long time to refuel his planes and rearm them. And not to mention that the enemy carrier has fighters here, so... Yeah, I mean, that Scharnhorst really would have ended this game right here and then, but instead he chose to fall prey to torpedoes. Nevertheless, nicely done by Dams. So we speed it up here again. I mean, it's a destroyer and a cruiser against a carrier. Sounds like great odds, but unfortunately the enemy has a massive point lead. They control 2 capture points and the friendly team is a little bit out of position. Also, that Budyonny has almost no hit points left, so 1 dive bomber strike and that Budyonny is probably gone. Unless, of course, the dive bombers miss. Good news is the dive bombers are going for Dams here, and that's the best that can happen for the friendly team. Now the cruiser is taking the center and Dams is as fast as he can going towards point Alpha. Now if I were the enemy carrier, I would probably sit in the top right corner, as far away as point Alpha and the enemies that I think I could get. Because I mean, it's kind of logical that the friendly team is going for the cap zone, because if they don't, they just lose. The enemy reaches 1,000 points. But they also have to sink. I mean, they have to take the capture zone to not lose, and then they have to use the remaining few minutes to hopefully sink the enemy carrier. That's gonna be tricky. So, friendly forces have finally reached the last cap circle. But it's only like 1.5 minutes left to play, and the enemies have 964 points. And what's even worse, dive bombers are coming for the Budyonny. Now, I think the Budyonny might have defensive fire running here. So there is hope, but if he hits that Budyonny, it's not looking good. Now Dams has found their independence, and I guess that's the good news. He has like 1 minute to sink the enemy ship, or the friendly team will lose. And I guess the enemy carrier is biding his time, waiting for defensive fire to run out until he tries to drop on the Budyonny. And oh my god, here... Oh, the enemies have 999 points. Now they can't generate any more points currently, but that was close. And well, they're off. 30 seconds left to play, so Dams has to sink the enemy independence in 30 seconds. That's not enough time for torpedoes. He has to finish him with guns, and this is going to be a close one. Well, it's 10 seconds. He's almost there, and the time is almost out. So yeah, he managed to sink the enemy carrier with 2 seconds left. So that was a close one. Very nicely done, Dams. Very nicely done. Now let's take a look at the results. He managed to get himself 3,350 base experience, and it was certainly nicely played by him. Oh, this game was almost lost 2 times when the enemies reached 999 points, and well, the enemies would have needed 2 seconds to win regardless. But it all worked out well in the end. Aetam 77 earned himself Confederate and High Caliber. He scored 151 points of damage, and oh my, this was an exciting game. It had its longer parts, but ultimately the ending was, oh my, I really enjoyed that. It was an amazing battle. I hope you enjoyed watching it as well, and I'll see you guys next time.